Hello everyone, I'm Lynx4 and welcome to Undertale, the visual novel. Well, day one at least. So, here we are, sleeping in our bed. With a quick stretch, you start to wake up in your room. Your eyes slide open to view your ceiling slowly come into focus. For a moment, you chuckle quietly to yourself as you forget your name due to the lack of sleep. What was that first part again? My name is Kara. No, we're gonna go with Frisk, right? Right. What was the last part? So your name is Frisk Van Horn? What? No, my name is not Frisk Van Horn. The sleep hit you harder than you thought. What was your first part of your name again? Kara. And the last part? Oh, Frisk. Yeah, my name is Kara Frisk. Ha! Yeah, that's perfect. It was a day like most others. You got out of bed and started to grab your clothing that you would need for work before heading to take a shower. So, this is life after the pacifist route for Frisk. You look at your reflection in the mirror for a moment and give a small smile at what you see. Though that wasn't what you were focusing on right then. You turned on the shower radio you were given at your work Secret Santa last year as you started to bathe. Radio. You're listening to classical radio on this December day. It's going to be another cold one out there, folks. However, reports say it shouldn't snow until later in the week. Whatever the case, remember to stay bundled up, folks. Now a classic tune. The sense of nostalgia you get washes over you as you listen to the song from your youth. It really brings back memories. Oh, way back when I was a kid. And your character is Kara Frisk. Kara, or Frisk, depending on who you ask. Were they the same person the whole time? This character has no affiliation with the events that occurred in Undertale. Lies. You're a human living alone in an apartment complex in the midst of the town surrounding Mount Ebbet. Ebbet City? Despite living there for a few years, the character can be quite shy when it comes to starting a conversation. It has been over a year since the legendary Frisk liberated the monsters from the underground. Oh, I wanted to be the legendary Frisk. Oh, that's too bad. Since then, the child has managed to obtain peace between humanity and monsters. It's time to go. You step out of the shower and dry yourself off, heading into the other room to make breakfast while you turn on the TV. The television flickers to life and slowly focuses on the same channel you left it on from last night. MTT TV! The robot was supposedly a star of the underground, and his talents shifted easily up here. He managed to secure the local television slot all for himself, and his YouTube was reaching popularity surprisingly quick. Something about him seemed to allure people, no matter what his form was. Once the television turned on, you focus more on your food. You're not the greatest chef in the world, but you managed to get it done. It isn't the most healthy thing in the world, but everyone needs sugar in their diet, right? Whatever the case, you eat it happily as you watch the show. Currently, though, it's just a commercial break. Or it would be if the robot actually ran commercials. Instead, it's just slow motion footage of a rose petals falling on the robot's box form. You decide it's probably better to conserve power and shut off the TV. Eating your breakfast quietly, you grab your notebook and stuff it into your bag. Afterwards, you drape your coat on around yourself and place your bag strapped over your shoulder. This is very detailed. Can I just say I put my backpack on and headed out the door? That would be much simpler. You lived on the 5th floor of 10 floors, but there's an elevator there, luckily. Once you made it to the bottom, you stepped past the front desk and headed out into the cold, calmly walking along to your office. When are we going to see anybody from Undertale? That would be pretty exciting. While the sun is still shining, the radio was right in declaring the temperature. It's cold. Snow caked the gutters of the streets. Doesn't really look like it, as the cold chilled its way into your bones. Thankfully, though, it doesn't take that long to walk to work. Halfway through your walk, you pass a local school. You're pretty certain it was one of that employed that monster teacher. Though, as you're lost in thoughts, you tripped over something and landed in the garden. Some sort of butter cups? For butter scotch pie? Maybe? I hope so. Oh dear, are you alright? You look up at who was talking to you, only to see a monster woman that's easily 6 feet tall, trailed by a child in a winter coat. Oh, Toriel! She offers a hand to you with a small smile. I'm terribly sorry about those boys. They can be quite rowdy. With even a smaller smile in return, you reached up to take her hand. Her grip was surprisingly firm, but she hoisted you back up to your feet with ease and got you out of the flowers you were pushed into. Kara. Or me. Oh, it's alright. I remember when I was in elementary school like them. The goat woman gave a gentle giggle in response, then folded her hands together in front of her. Even still, behavior like this should never be tolerated. My name is Toriel, caretaker of most of the children. It's a pleasure to meet you, Toriel. I'm Kara. You never met me because this is after the pacifist. Well, Toriel did meet me. Frisk didn't. Toriel smiled again and was about to respond before the child behind her stepped forward, looking up at the other human with apparently closed eyes. Oh, and this is Frisk. I've watched over them for about a year now. You're about to introduce yourself to the child before the realization of the name hits you. Frisk? Hang on. Are you? Frisk gave a small nod, their expression unchanging. Oh, have you seen them on the news? Pride seems to strike a chord in her voice. However, before you can speak more, the bell rings at school, signaling only a few more minutes until classes were to begin. Oh heavens, I apologize, but I fear I must go. Perhaps we can meet again sometime. Really? I would love to, thank you. Toriel nods again, then gently takes Frisk's hand and started head towards the school. However, she delivers a final wave over her shoulder. Bye, Toriel, and the legendary Frisk. Goodbye, Kara. You return the wave with a smile before realizing that it probably means you need to hurry to work as well. It's only a short walk before you get to the office. Frisk! Boss, no! You turn your chair around to face the monster of your branch, deciding it's best to see what they have to say before jumping to conclusions. Yes, ma'am? I want to know why you were late! Despite your best attempts to explain the situation for a while, she eats up more of your time by berating you with nonsense. Finally, though, once she's gotten her anger out of the way, she stomps away to slam the door shut behind her in her own office. You take a deep breath and try to focus on your work again, merely hoping that this will all get better soon, one way or another. Finally, the day is done. You managed to get out a few hours early. Oh, I just snuck out. The boss knew I was late, but it doesn't matter. I'm leaving. So you should have plenty of time to kill. Plus, it's the weekend. Who wants to work on the weekend? So the bonus is even a better experience. On your way home, your stomach starts to faintly grumble. You realize that you never actually ate lunch at work. I guess it's time for an early dinner. You seem to notice a new place on the way home. A cafe? The title seems like a pun on something, but you can't quite exactly know what it means. The Central Smirk. With a shrug, you decide to head into the restaurant. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, you're working here now? Grill B? And Sans? Instead of stepping aside, you film a warmed up interior of the place. That is likely due to the bartender made of flames behind the counter, currently being chatted by with a skeleton about half his height. A Monster Run cafe? Interesting. I wonder if they have any unique foods from the underground. Hey, kiddo, what will it be? As your eyes scan the menu, you realize that just about every food item here is a pun of some sort. Well, I've never really been here before. What do you recommend, sir? The skeleton shook his head. I'm no sir. And Grillbs is handling the stirs, so I know that can't be what you mean. It takes a moment to realize what he means, but you snicker a bit despite it. The skeleton takes a hand across the counter and offers it to you with the same grin as it always presents. The name Sans. Sans the skeleton. And who are you? You reach forward and shake his hand. I'm Kara. Pleasure to... Really? Really, Sans? The skeleton lets out a laugh like it's the funniest thing in the world, disappearing behind the counter as he holds a hand to his ribs and sinks down. Even the fiery bartender lets out a soft chuckle that almost sounds like sparks flying from a fireplace. I would recommend either the burger or fries if you were unsure. The man of a fire shrugs. And before you ask, my Kara, my name is Grillby, or G, or Grillbs, depending on who you speak to. What do you want? You give a small chuckle and contemplate the options. Burger, fries, or you? I can eat him? How can I eat I can't eat fire? You! You wink with an awkward finger snap. As a strange surge of confidence flew through you, you utter the pickup line that never materialized. Well, I want you, but, Awkward. Awkward. He's silent for a moment as he stares through you. The warmth surrounding his fiery cheeks slowly picks up in fluster as he seems to realize what you meant by that. No. How about an actual order? That's not what I meant. Fine. I'll take a burger. There's more to it than fries. He's silent and goes to the back room, supposedly to make the burger. What's that thing you said to Grillbs? It probably was not important. He'll be in the back with your burger in a minute. So, kid, what brings you to this part of town? I was heading home from work. The other place I normally eat is closed. San shrugged and looked back around the place. Well, I can safely say you're at least a second in our list of best customers. He winked at you. We've only had 2. You gain a strange urge to jump to that number 1 spot. It only takes a few seconds longer for Grillby to step back out again with your food, which he places in front of you. Bon appetit! Grillby shrugged. He thinks it's legally required to say that after every meal served. Your meal goes on like that for a few minutes as you eat, occasionally stopping to chat to one of the people behind the counter. Soon, though, you finish your plate and sit back with a smile, brushing the grease off your hands on a napkin you were given with your meal. Oh man, that was delicious. How many souls do I owe? How much do I owe you to? The pair look at each other silently for a moment before looking back at the human. Free of charge for our second best customer. Even the idea of that statement throws your internal feelings out of whack. Wait, really? That seems counterintuitive to your business. Hold on. Doesn't this make me your worst customer? No need to be so worried about it, kiddo. You snicker again at the pun and stand up in your chair, slinging your bag over your shoulder again. If you say so, I'll be sure to come by here again sometime, and I'll actually pay then. Well, I would hope so. Chances are, you won't be our second best customer by then. Grilby gives a small nod of thanks towards the human and holds up a hand to give a thumbs up. His face didn't have many features aside from the glasses, but the gesture was enough. Stay, how would he even give a thumbs up if his hands are on fire? Is his hands on fire? I don't know, stay safe. You smile again and head out of the restaurant, getting caught off guard by the serious temperature drop between in there and outside. As you were readjusting to the weather on the walk back to your home, you heard a voice call out to you from inside one of the stores. You there? Come inside for a moment. You look over the source of the laughter, supposedly another restaurant called Muffet's Muffins. How much are we going to do in one single day? The last time you went to that place, you weren't all familiar with it. It went alright. Why not try it out again? I just hate them. Even though the sight of the store made you somewhat nervous, you stepped forward. The inside was quite dimly lit, and the carpet felt quite springy under your feet. However, the springiness turned to squishiness as you stepped further in. Ew! What am I stepping on, kid? The title sets a fluster on your face, maybe letting you realize that this isn't the best spur-of-the-moment decision. Muffets, Muffins. Welcome to my parlor, dearie. I'm Muffet. Nice to meet you, ma'am. I'm, Kara. Some lights slowly turned on in the area. Around the place, it seemed like there were still dining tables and chairs set up, despite no customers being present. I'm so glad you came to see me. I have a business proposition of a lifetime for you. Oh, great. You take a deep breath and set all your mental efforts to not get swindled out of anything. How would you like a spider donut? They're quite nutritious. What do you say? You started to grow curious, however. Well, how much are they? They sound pretty interesting. A mere $300 to do the trick. What do you say, dearie? Hearing her made you laugh out loud. Much to her anger, you honestly thought she was joking for a moment. Oh, you're serious. She reached behind the counter and brought one out to brandish it. A few spiders started to crowd on the counter. Are you saying this isn't worth the price? It has bugs all over it. But no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I have no idea what they're worth. I don't know, dearie. It just seems like you hate spiders. The accusation hit you in the gut with how sudden it was. But no, I don't. Well, there's only one way to prove that to me. You shook your head a bit and tried to step back, but the webs that now saw coating the floor were keeping your feet in place. I'm sorry, I don't have money to spend on pastries like this, ma'am. The woman stared at you with all 5 eyes narrowing slowly, setting the blood in your veins to ice. Oh, don't worry, dearie. I understand. You breathe out in relief. Even though the hostile tone in her voice is still present, she can't really do anything to you, can she? Except, I've been watching you. You caught my eye ever since I saw you walk out of that fancy tall building down the street. Caught her eye? You don't mean, like... It didn't seem like she heard that line. It was probably good. If you really can't afford such quality, then I guess we'll just have to ask you to leave. Thank goodness. The sense of being powerless there was almost overwhelming. Right, I guess I have to go then. My apologies, ma'am. I really didn't mean to offend you. You started to feel the grip on your shoes lessen over time. Just another rude human, I guess. She folds her arms again and looks away with a huff. While that line felt a little bit unfair, you felt like there wasn't much you could do to get her out of that mood currently. And I was starting to think you were even cute a moment ago. You felt her eyes wide open in response to that, but you couldn't say anything before she started waving the human off. Go on, out, then! I guess we can't make a connection. She turned her back on you and held her head high. While you knew she was trying to guilt trip you at this point, it was probably best not to say anything to counter her in her domain. You turned and started to head out. Muffet looked over her shoulder and scowled a bit, then leaned close to a normal-sized spider and started whispering something to them. What are they saying behind my back? Well, that was terrifying. As you walked back to your apartment, you passed by the skull again, where it seemed like a monster was currently trimming a hedge in what looked to be the shape of a head. As you glanced over, though, you heard him drop a pair of clippers from his ladder. Golly! These gloves are way too slippery for this. Whoa, 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 whoa. He started to descend down his ladder as you picked up the clippers for him, handing them over with a smile as the man turned around. Howdy! Thank you, human! You shake your head politely and scratch the back of your neck. You're welcome. Not a problem, sir. I didn't do anything special. The goat shook his head and glanced down at the human with a wide smile. To you, it may not have seemed like much, but it seems a lot to me that humans can be so willing to be kind to monsters. The praise makes you blush faintly and look shyly. Oh, Asgore. Wait, I don't even know your name yet. Even if it wasn't too big of a deal to you, it surely meant a lot to the monster in front of you. A big hand slowly moves in front of you, offered for a shake. My name is Asgore. Asgore Dreamer, human. You look up to the goat and smile again, reaching forward to take his hand in your own. It's nice to meet you, sir. I'm Kara Frisk, not related to Kara or Frisk. Don't get confused. Just because we're all human doesn't mean we're the same person. Before you get further acquainted, this is not Asgore. Before you get further acquainted, an unseen model shots out from behind the hedges. King Asgore! Who are you talking to? I forgot how to do your voice. Oh my god! Hello, human! The skeleton took a few long strides over to the human and took their hand in his own gloved one, shaking it vigorously with a cheerful smile on his face. In case you didn't know already, I'm the Great Papyrus. Shortly after shaking your hand, and even without waiting for a response, the skeleton took a step back and posed dramatically. An impression of who the skeleton must have been formed in your mind, given his attitude. As the king looked back to you, he just gave a dismissive chuckle and a wave of his hand, talking in a slow tone so that Papyrus couldn't hear. Don't worry about Papyrus. He's really quite kind. Yeah. Surely you are impressed, yes? Your stunned silence is met with more of his jovial laughter. Papyrus scurried back off towards where he was as the king stepped up to the ladder again. It was a pleasure to meet you, Kara. I hope to see you again sometime. and I feel Papyrus may as well. Whoa, 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 whoa. His laughter was full of joy, even if there was a faint melancholic edge about him that undermined it only faintly. Though, that may have just been your imagination. It was a pleasure to meet you as well, King Asgore. Asgore shook his head, and he went back to trimming the hedge. I'm no king anymore, merely a fluffy gardener. Of course, I still need to speak with human officials at times, but gardening is the project I focus more on. Just the idea of a gardening king made you chuckle as you looked back down the street. I should probably head home now. Make sure you're warm, alright? The goat gardener chuckled and gave a small nod. I'm not very much of a type of person to go cold in weather, for a few reasons. Another smile lights your face as you turn around to head back in the direction of your home. Nothing else eventful happened to you on the way home, but you felt alright about that. Today was already jam-packed with events. You sort of wanted to just get home. The sound of grunting was filling the hall, even before you made the turn to your room. You merely hope it wasn't what you thought it was. Luckily, it was something much more interesting. How much more can happen in one day? In the door just next to yours, there was a blue woman trying to shove a grand piano through her front door single-handedly. Why do these things have to be so huge? Admiring her determination, you stepped forward and started to help her push it through that door. Jeez, you managed to get all the way up here by yourself. Finally, the two of you managed to get it inside, and the fish woman lifted up her arms. She slammed it into the corner of the living room, making an almighty crash around the entire building. Despite your panting and near exhaustion just from pushing it through the door, the fish woman turned to you with a large grin. It didn't even look like she had broken a sweat. Thanks for the help, punk. The name's Undine. She shot a hand forward. It was rough weathered, and her grip was definitely firm after you put your hand in hers to return it. Pleasure to meet you, Undine. I'm Kara. I guess you're moving in here. The feeling of her hand squeezing yours definitely hurt, but it didn't seem like she was doing it on purpose. Guess you must live nearby if you were up here. That, and you're fairly certain the shouting and grunting would have attracted anybody within a 4-mile radius. Actually, I live next door. Awesome! It'll be good to actually know someone in here. Sorry to ask, but how did you plan to get the piano all the way up here? Well, it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so I just carried it up the stairs. Why? Never mind. It's probably not important. Kara, in my line of work, you've got to be strong. You narrowed your gaze at her. What kind of job would you need to lift a piano up 5 flights of stairs? Are you a mover or something? Personal trainer. But I guess that would be pretty fitting. You pitied the person who would have to train under her. Well, I guess I'll head back to my place for a while. Do you need any help with anything around here? She shook her head and rested her head back on the couch, shaking her same toothy grin over to you. Nah, I should be alright for now. We should definitely hang out sometime though. You returned the smile with a much smaller one of your own. It's not that yours is small, just that hers is so huge and hard to counter. With another wave, you started to head back and go to a short distance to your own apartment. Can we please just go to sleep? No more. No, I've already experienced too much today. After stepping inside, you took a deep breath and set your coat and bag on the rack just next to the door. You're not very hungry due to just having eaten, and it's far too early to go to bed yet. Besides, it was a Friday. I thought it was a weekend. You had a few options, but on nights like this, you found it most fun to head to the arcade. No, now we're going to head to the arcade? I just had a crazy day. Can we just end it already? A few moments later, you were inside. The dim overall lighting blended greatly with the brightly colored machines and signs around the place. It always felt awkward coming here alone, but you sometimes found other people that were pretty cool around the place that you could face in some of the various games. A pair of people were even occupying one of the air hockey tables, both of whom appeared to be monsters. Hey! Alphys and Metaton EX. Yet one of them looked familiar to you. It only took a second longer of staring awkwardly at them to figure out who it was. Alphys, darling! You're quite good at this, you know that. My hidden talent? They both chuckled a little bit and you smiled just from being an onlooker, but your heart was racing just with the thought of actually being able to meet Metaton. Surprisingly enough, There wasn't even a crowd around him, despite being in a public area. After a few moments, the game ended with a much shorter lizard woman winning by a few points. She pushed her glasses up her nose a bit and started quietly celebrating to herself for a moment as the robot she was playing against huffed in disappointment. I'm only this way because you didn't program me to be good at air hockey. The scientist blushed heavily despite the obvious jocose tone in the robot's voice. I think you're just blaming your lack of skill on me because I programmed you that way. The robot shrugged before looking over and noticing you. Despite your attempt to look away in time, the smirk gracing his face was still obvious. Well, hello, darling. Did I catch your eye? The robot struts over to you, with Alphys just trying to hide her embarrassment by playing on any other machine. Sorry, I've seen you on TV, and you were shushed by the robotic gloved finger moved up against your lips to silence you, but gently. Darling, don't worry about it. You wouldn't believe the amount of people I have staring at me daily. Soon, though, the robot chuckled and returned his finger to his fist, resting it against his hip. Well then, what brings you here, darling? Aside from my beautiful figure, of course. To the arcade? I was just bored at home, really. I see. Surely this has spiced up your life substantially, That was certainly one way of putting it. The robot chuckled and shook his head, calling over the lizard again. Alphys, come meet my fan. Despite it looking like she would willingly do anything but meet someone new, the lizard came over. Pleasure to meet you, Dr. Alphys. I'm Kara. Kara? My, what a beautiful name! The robot reached into his pocket and took out a glittery cell phone, clicking through a few of the options. And what's that last name? I need it for my contacts. You realize that was probably the most subtle way the robot could ask for your phone number as well. Wait, you would want my number? Even Alphys seemed surprised, and it seemed like she was much closer to the robot. Well, of course! I get all my fans' numbers, just in case they ever need anything. Of course, most of my calls are from that silly skeleton, but he's my #1 fan. Of course, I have to accept them. You can't see Sans as being the fan of the robot, but Papyrus? They seem at least somewhat plausible. They both have a narcissistic tinge to their personality. In that case, my last name is Frisk. Kara Frisk. The robot only took a few seconds to type in the name and the number when you actually gave it to him, causing you to realize just how advanced the robot actually was. Perfect, darling! Now pose for a photo! Before you could even react, the robot arm moved over and put his arm around you, sticking a tongue out slightly as he held the phone in front of you both. However, before you could take a picture, a notification appeared on his screen from someone. Oh, wait just a beautiful moment, I have to take this. Perhaps we can reschedule this photo shoot for tomorrow, Alphys, darling, could you keep them company for a moment? Before she could even respond, Mettaton was already walking off and chattering to whoever had interrupted the conversation, oh so rudely. Honestly, you didn't really know what to say either. Do you, like anime? For once, some semblance of passion started to light the lizard's visage, and she looked up again at the human. Yeah, I actually love it! For a while, the two of you just talked to one another about the topic, each of you with intensifying passion. However, you got interrupted a few moments into your conversation by what appeared to be a depressed ghost, for lack of a better way to put it. Hey, Alphys, have you seen Mettaton? Alphys looked over and shifted from anime mode to normal person mode, meaning she lost much of her confidence. He went to accept a phone call. He, should be somewhere around here. Sorry, Napsablue. Oh. The ghost shifted their gaze over to the human for the first time and looked them up and down, suddenly growing a bit more transparent. Sorry I interrupted you. Didn't I? Oh no. They started to fade away, but you held out a hand in an attempt to stop them. You didn't interrupt us. Come back. Slowly, the ghost started to materialize again, looking at the situation cautiously. Oh, right. Sorry, I'm Napsablute. What was your name? You give a small nod of your head and a thumbs up. Pleasure to meet you, Napsablute. I'm Kara. Napsablute doesn't give much of a response in return, just awkwardly looking around. Sorry, I'm not really feeling it right now. Goodbye. There's little you could have done this time, but Alphys is there to explain it away. Don't worry about them. They're just kind of shy. You shrug it off and force a smile to your face again. It's not a problem, Alphys. I'm the same way. Not really. I'm the same way. Alphys nodded and checked her phone quickly, then sighed in exasperation. He's been gone for at least 10 minutes already. We were going to head out soon. He'll probably notice I'm gone when I leave, right? Anyway, it was good getting to meet you, Kara. If you need either of us, just call Metatron. He could probably give you my number. She looked to the side. Not that you would ever want to call me, of course. You shake your head slightly at that line. However, she was already heading away, giving a wave over her shoulder. Goodbye! You merely hope that you could see her again sometime. Metatron never came up to find you, so you assumed he was gone. Around an hour later, you were just about ready to head home. You took your things again and headed out to the night. Looking at the streetlights vaguely settling the earth is a visible tone underneath them as people in their shadows milled about underneath. What an amazing sunset! Only a few seconds after you stepped into the elevator did you hear your phone go off with that ringtone you thought it was so cool to hear a few weeks prior. You pull out your phone and look on the screen with a raised eyebrow from an unknown number. You had a text saying, "Darlings." It didn't take you long to decipher who it could have been. You decided to send a quick message in reply just so that he's certain he got your number down as well. Hey, it's Kara. However, it was only a moment later that you realized something. There was a plus sign next to the original number. You were dragged into a group chat with at least 5 or 6 other numbers that you didn't know. Oh, sweet Jesus. Only a short while later, everyone started to respond in their own unique way. The elevator opened up a moment ago, and you started to walk through it towards your apartment. Throw the phone out the window! You can't get in a group chat! Nah. Why did you make us go into another group chat? Oh, well, I wanted to add my new human friend. Human friend? Is that Kara Frisk? Yes, it is. Oh, King Asgore, I knew you were the smart one. With each name being given, you try to add them to your contact as well to keep track of who is who. Though for one of the names, you could infer who they were. Don't see why we had to add them though. No offense to the kid, but we don't really know them all that well. Oh, come on now. All of you mentioned meeting a human today. Surely you're all thinking the same awkward human, right? You're about to protest, but just about everyone seemed to agree. Well, as much as that's quite rude, that sounds about right. Yep. The human I saw spoke to the king and I. Yes, that sounds like the same human. Awkward is fitting. Can we please stop? I don't know what's wrong with being awkward. Please, please. Kara, don't worry, dear. I'll send you their contact information later. You still didn't know how to feel about being drafted into this group chat, but every one of the monsters seemed quite nice. Besides, it had to be fun, right? You step into your home and move to your room again, sitting down on the edge of your bed as the conversation kept going on. Surely it can't be too big of a deal, right? Kara is definitely polite. It's not that they're not polite, Your Majesty. We barely know them. Shouldn't we be more careful? Oh, hush up, you bag of bones. Surely it's all right. Whatever. Don't blame me when we're all boned because of this. Ha! LOL. Who's that? Oh my god, that wasn't even good. You used that one 400 times already. Seriously, how are you italicizing on a mobile? Huh? Magic, kiddo. It occurred to you that you have never really heard Frisk's voice. You wondered to yourself if they even talked. Frisk sent a gif of them snapping their fingers to the camera, which apparently had saved. Why? The kid's like that with everybody. Don't worry too much about it. Look, I'm all for Kara being in the chat, but I have to work tomorrow, so I have to be up in a few hours. Undyne, you never sleep. Alright, can we just discuss this tomorrow? Good night, everybody. I don't even know their voices anymore. Metatron sent a voice clip of him supposedly blowing a kiss. Undyne sent a clip of a video of someone vomiting into a bucket. Frisk sent a word art of the phrase LOL. Undyne, that is disgusting. I can't believe you would. Toriel sent several paragraphs debating the ethical use of the video clip. You decide to call it a night as you set your phone on the bedside table, laying back and taking a few deep breaths. Today was definitely strange, but you feel like you'll stick it out in your mind for the rest of your life. Your phone started to buzz as a few people continued to talk in the chat, but like the rest of the sounds of the city, they faded into the back of your mind as you drifted to sleep. Okay, so there you have it. That was the first day of the Undertale novel. I expected something much shorter, and it was extremely long. I'm going to try to cut it down as much as possible for you guys. But there you go. One day. How many days for the rest of your life? How long is this going to be? This might be the longest game ever. But that was enjoyable. A little, taste of life after the actual Undertale game. And this one, I guess, sequel takes it in a good, happy direction. Everybody's just having fun, texting, and living their lives. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for out.